Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Unversed podcast. Danny here, and today we are talking about a manga that I've already discussed before. I've read the whole series already. A fantastic series, one of the top in the manga industry, I believe. Being republished by Viz. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for giving us a review copy to check it out. See what it is. It is 20th Century Boys Perfect Edition. Now, if you guys already know 20th Century Boys, who's the mangaka? Naoki Urasawa. If you hear that name involved with any type of manga, you already know what type of manga it's going to be. The storytelling's amazing. Fantastic art that complements it so well. And just something that really dives you into whatever story it's going to be. You guys already know I've reviewed about, I think, 3 of his series already, right? Master Keaton, Monster, and of course, 20th Century Boys. So, again, as I said, I reviewed the whole thing already in the manga reviews for my list. So, I don't want to try to reiterate as much. There's spoilers in that if you want to go back, or if you're trying to go back and listen to that. So be warned, there are spoilers for what is beyond the first volume. So let's check out the official synopsis of 20th Century Boys. Humanity, having faced extinction at the end of the 20th century, would not have entered the new millennium if it weren't for them. In 1969, during their youth, they created a symbol. In 1997, as the coming disaster slowly started to unfold, that symbol returns. This is the story of a group of boys who try to save the world. So, in my opinion, I think the synopsis is spoiler. It's spoiler heavy, I think. Just the first sentence alone kind of ruins it for you, right? Because as you read, it's a slow build, I will admit. It's an omnibus, right? This volume that we have here, number 1, it's composed of multiple volumes. And, even just skimming through, having already read it, it's not until the back quarter of the actual manga is when things start to slowly build up. But, just skimming through these last pages, there's really nothing to depict what the, the synopsis says, because me reading this, right, when I read this, for the first time, I was thinking, oh man, this is a story about the main character who had these dreams as a kid, as, a young man, and to see where his life ended up. And now he has rejuvenated his youth, in a sense, by having this adventure from somebody of their past, try to recreate what was missed. So that's the exciting tale on his perspective. But then once we get closer and we realize, oh man, these things are actually coming to fruition. Things that we never deemed possible are actually happening now. Now he has a responsibility on his shoulders to prevent it as much as possible, because, he was sort of the ringleader of his childhood friends. Therefore, he thinks, in a sense, it's his responsibility to end this, because, in a sense, he did start what is happening here in 20th Century Boys. And, of course, as a typical manga reader, or of any media that has a protagonist, antagonist, you always root for the protagonist. And I think this really spoils what happens after this first major arc of the story, which, it kind of, when I read it for the first time, I was actually, wondering, oh man, is this actually going to happen? What's going on? Is there going to be some kind of crazy, big, flashy finale for our main character to prevent it? That's what I kept thinking, reading it. And then, eventually when we got there, I was like, oh man, that was such a good build up to what we get now. Still shocking, at the end of the day, whenever I think about this manga, it's like, yeah, this is, an intense piece of work. I'd never imagined the manga went where it does go. That's the crazy part about 20th Century Boys. And it's also the best part of 20th Century Boys, because then we get a whole different section of the story revolving around many different characters, and it still has the same feeling. the same passion going on with these new characters. So just really great work overall. I really love this cover for the manga. It might be the thumbnail, I'm not too sure yet. But anyways, it's our main character, right on the cover. On his cheek it says Volume 1. I think it's a tasteful place to put it. And of course, like, already you see the art style and how great it is. It's colored, green background. He's got sort of like this violet-ish hair, green eyes, right? The blue shirt. And what I like about it is you can tell it's a pencil drawing, right? And then you see like, oh, he clearly didn't color between the lines. It gives it sort of this nice artistic feel to it, right? And then right there, like neonish pink, bold right there, his name, Naoki Urasawa. And oh, what's this? What's with this texture? Let me move the cover here. Oh, look at that, in clear lettering that you can see by reflections. It says 20th Century Boys, presented by Naoki Urasawa. That is great. It's a really nice aesthetic feel to it. Because like the main focus here is our main character, and here's another interesting thing. Like, we already have the logo 20th Century Boys on there, and his name, but then, you get that nice little aesthetic look to it when you get that clear reflection of it saying 20th Century Boys with his name on it. In the back, standard, I think, for the omnibuses, right? It's just like one of the what is this? One of the panels from pretty, like, I want to say like halfway into this volume. So that's pretty good as well. With a great price of $20. It's a big signature, so it's a big boy. On par with like the Vagabond and Vinland Saga sizes for this going on. Again, by Viz Media. It is some really great stuff here, guys. This will be coming out, well, this already came out on the 18th of September, so it's out on shelves right now, out on, I think, digital platforms as well for you guys. And this is, 2 volumes from the original version of the manga out of the 22 volumes. So we're probably going to get, I believe it's 11. And also, don't forget, the final volume is called 21st Century Boys, so there's going to be a difference there. I thought that was like, oh, maybe that's a one-shot. No, it's the final volume of the manga, so when you do collect this series, make sure you grab 21st Century Boys. It is not a sequel. It's coming out on a quarterly basis, so 4 volumes a year is what I am seeing here, once every quarter. So yeah, it's already out now in September, so be sure to look out for next year, early next year, I'm assuming. We're gonna get volume 2. Again, man, it's definitely worth a grab. It's an amazing story. The art style, though simplistic, really conveys emotion and the intent on characters. So it's some really good stuff, man. Very nice artistic feel to it. Oh, and I didn't even talk about this. Right when you open the book, right, you get a blank page. But wait, what is this? Oh, there's some lines. Oh, what is this? There's a symbol. It's the symbol of friendship that is conveyed in the flashbacks. That's the main point. Also, another great thing about this is we got some colored pages. And it's not your typical color pages. It's some really good stuff. It's an artistic choice, and I think it really works with the art style that we have here from Naoki. So, just great stuff, man. To reiterate what I think I said in the review, I didn't know what to expect from this manga, and to see where it went, it's just really great. Especially in the beginning, it's mainly just a journey of friends really trying to reconnect with each other after one of their friends committed suicide, and going through flashbacks, nostalgia, and then they start going on this adventure and start realizing all these other things connecting to the world as we know it right now, like the current situation of the world. It gets to some pretty crazy stuff, man. Definitely what I wasn't expecting, with a title like 20th Century Boys. What could that mean? So again, guys, if you haven't checked it out, really go check it out. There are live action adaptations of this manga for the movie, and I have them. I have yet to watch them. I really need to check it out, and hopefully maybe I'll come back on the podcast and talk about it in a solo episode or something, or during our show notes on Salt Talk, right? So again, it's already out. Go to your local bookstore like Barnes & Noble. All that, $20. It's a steal. For this kind of quality, it's a steal. And I'm not talking about just content, like also like the way this book is made is really fresh. I like it a lot. That is all I have to say today, guys, about this manga. Thank you, Viz, again, for giving us the press edition to check it out and review. And I'm definitely looking forward to collecting this series, I think, and you know me, guys, I'm not a big omnibus guy, but this size, I think, is appropriate for this manga, so kudos to them for doing all that. Thank you again for listening. Remember, you can always follow us at Unversed Podcast anywhere on social media to stay caught up with the latest episodes. And while we wait for those episodes, remember, you can always email us at unversedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, have you guys checked this manga out? What are your thoughts? Let us know. Love to hear it. As always, we'll talk to you next time.